welcome to this session. My name is Edin Kubai from Kenya. I work with the Ministry of Education, and I will be looking at a few issues because most of them have been presented by the two speakers who have presented the PowerPoint PPT. And I've actually seen the way they have spoken about how to draft a synopsis or how to come up with their good research. So I will be able to define a synopsis, then also be able to identify, give procedures on how you can be able to identify a research topic if you are a master's student or a PhD student, or you're writing just for either for grants and so on, or you're drafting to define to have to solve a problem in an institution, then you need to come up with a proposal that is actually people can be able to read and understand what you're doing, which is very, very important. That is what we are doing here. So in most cases, somebody will ask you, what do we mean by a synopsis? A synopsis is like a structured outline of a research thesis and the steps followed to answer the research question. So you must come up with a comprehensive thesis or a documentation that will outline what you want to achieve, what is the problem you're looking at, how do you achieve that in the research methodology, and what will be your conclusion in that. So you must have a research question that is actually directing what you're looking for. In the research question, behind it, we have what you call the research problem that you want to address in that synopsis. So you must be well knowledgeable in the area of specialization. If you are in the education field, it means you must understand well what is happening in that education field. If you are in the engineering field, you must be able to understand what is happening in the engineering field, what has been published, what has not been published in that engineering field, and what are you solving in that field when you carry out your research. So that is what we'll be looking at in terms of synopsis. So if you look at a synopsis, it's a comprehensive way to respond to research question, a systematic way. So the previous two speakers have given you the whole process on how to identify or go through a synopsis, step by step up to the conclusion. So a synopsis is a brief summary that gives audience an idea of what composition is all about. So it actually highlights what are you looking at, what is the problem at hand, and how is your study solving that problem. So you must be able to come up with a way on how the problem is going to be solved in a better way, in a systematic, scientific way, where you have theories behind it. If you're doing a PhD, you must understand the theories behind what you are looking for. Like in education, there are theories, the way things are done. You cannot say you are coming up. Yes, you may come up with new, but look at the predefined theories that are there existing in that field that you are. If you're in the medicine field, you are in the engineering field, you are in the educational field. Like for me, I'm in the education field. I must be able to understand what are some of the educational theories that exist. And from those educational theories is where we now do research, either to approve a theory or disapprove a theory or support that theory so that we come up with new knowledge in that field of education or medicine and so on. That is what happens when it comes to synopsis. So as a student or somebody who is learning, it is good to read the way Dr. Caleb actually has said. It is good to look at materials either on the YouTube, look at materials which you can be able to read online, go to the library, look at the books that have been published and see that if you can be able to come up with an idea of the area that you want to specialize in, that is very, very important for you because you need to gather information first. And that gathering information takes some time. And write a synopsis in an area that you have interest in or an area that you understand better so that you can be able to write good synopsis in that specific area. Now, how do you write a dissertation? How do you write a dissertation? First, you need to understand exactly what a dissertation is. Find a unique, valuable research topic if you want to come up with a dissertation, because a dissertation is a complete research project. And for you to write a complete research project, first make sure that the area you're looking at is very unique, that that area, you can be able to convince somebody that this area needs some research to be done in, and that research is important. And that's why you are doing that research. And you think that this research or that area you're looking at or the topic of interest has never been done. And that's why you are doing that. And therefore, for you to get that information, you must have read several books. You cannot say that this area has not been researched on, but there is a lot of information that has been written. So from that information that has been written, you cannot be able to identify the research gap. What has not been done in that area where you're looking at? What do you think has not been done? From there is when I can build your synopsis that will come up with either on what you call a dissertation once you have written what you call the research project. Write a convincing research proposal. Because if we are looking for grants, like instead, when you're looking for grants, if you have somebody like you are in the university, you are a professor, you're a lecturer, and you're looking for funds from donors and so on, make sure your research is actually convincing. And from just the synopsis or the abstract part of it, somebody can be able to say this study, we can be able to fund it or will not fund this one because of what you are looking at. How is it convincing in the area of your specialization? So you must make sure that the area of chosen is actually convincing to people who are going to read it, whether they are professors or whether they are your supervisors. That area should be convincing them. They should find interest in reading your work. You know, when somebody is reading your work, must be motivated to read, not boring. When you're reading somebody's work, find it that the language is flowing and very clear for somebody to be able to understand that language. The clarity should come out clearly, and the person should be motivated intrinsically just to continue reading about your work and be able to understand what do you have in your research proposal. Craft a strong introduction chapter. That is very, very important in research proposal or writing a dissertation. Make sure that your introduction is very, very important because you find many people like professors or supervisors are very busy and they have several proposals they are reading or there are several articles they are reading and they must make decisions based on what they are reading. So the introduction part of your work is very, very paramount to determine if that research is going to go through or not. So you find even most students are rejected just at the start point, where you start off your introduction or your abstract, where then you're told change the topic of research, or you don't have enough information in this topic. So it's very, very important that your introduction is very strong and be able to capture the eye of the audience or the people you are writing to, which is very, very important. Because in most cases, when you're writing a research proposal or you're writing a research dissertation or a research project, it is not, yes, it's your work, but you're writing for another person to consume that work. So when you're putting down your work, you need to make sure that your mind is reasoning like the other person is going to read your work, not yourself. Write and put yourself in the shoe of your supervisor or the shoe of their donors. When they look at your documentation or your synopsis, what will they conclude about your presentation? Is your work articulate? Is it clarifying the key issues in your research? And these people have interest in that area so that they can be able to sponsor either the project you're looking at, or they can support you in terms of building a convincing project that is very, very important to solve a societal issue that you're trying to solve in life. So it's very, very important that you have a strong introduction chapter that can capture and highlight the areas that you're looking at. Very boring introduction make people to pull out from or stop reading your work. And they tell you, go and do corrections in your dissertation or in your chapter. And that will make you even feel demotivated, because it's good to make sure that your introduction part of it is very, very important, that you capture what is known. The way the previous speaker said, start from international. You can start either from international, go to local, and so on. Find out what has been analyzed and what has not been written, and so on. Then what is your study going to feel when you conclude the research findings? Then next point is to undertake an in-depth literature review. I've clarified this. You cannot write a synopsis or a dissertation without a comprehensive or undertaking what you call an in-depth literature review. It's good to read, go to YouTube, look at videos in the area of your specialization. If you are in the medicine field, it's good to look at that medicine field broadly, widely, globally. Find out what has been researched on in your area and what has not been researched on, and you think that can be handled by your study. That is very, very important. Then carry out your own research. This means that you don't need to plagiarize somebody's work, because if you present plagiarized work, then you find most people will not be able to read, or even your work will be actually lack some ethical factors will come in, and you may be taken to court of law if you have downloaded work from somewhere, you copy and paste the way it is done nowadays. So find out that your work is original, carry out your own study, and present your work, your findings, which is very, very important, because the next step is just to present your findings. You find out if you don't carry out your own work, presentation of findings becomes a difficult problem. You cannot explain something you have not done. And that's why it's better you do your own work, understand the methodology you have used in your research. And that becomes very, very important for students who are doing masters, or you're doing undergraduate degree, or that is the first degree, or you're doing the second degree, or the third degree, or even the fifth. So if you are doing your own work, it becomes very easy to defend your work and own your work. But if that work is not yours, you have gone online and you have downloaded somebody's document, it will be very difficult for people to, or for yourself to explain to people what you have done in that work. And that's why it's very, very important when you're doing a study, take your time to read widely and smart, to know what has been published in that area and what you think is lacking in that area, so that you can carry out your own research. Then draw a conclusion and discuss the implication. When you have finished everything the way the previous speaker said, make sure there is a brief summary of your study and discuss the implication that will come once you have finished drafting your synopsis. So there is a lot that involves when you want to write a dissertation, and the basic steps that you need to follow for you to come up with a comprehensive dissertation that can convince people that actually you are well knowledgeable in that specific area of specialization. So it's very, very important that read wide and read smart, so that you understand what are the missing gaps in your area of specialization. If you're in education field, there is a lot can be published in education field. If you're in the medicine field, there is a lot that you can do in the medicine field. If you're in the engineering field, there is a lot. If you are in the computer and so on field, you can do a lot in that field. Now, selecting a research topic is also very, very important. You need to know how do you select a topic. A topic, there are several topics you can be able to choose from, and topic depends with the area of specialization. You need to come up with a specific topic, you narrow down the way the previous speaker said, and brainstorm on the same topics, find out how that topic can be written in a way of convincing the supervisors or the donors that this topic needs research. Don't just put a plain or a blank topic that if somebody looks at it, will wonder, what are you doing? Why are you studying this area? Does it really need study? Find out that you understand what you're doing, that the topic is clear and the variables can be able to be identified from the topic, and people can filter out what are you looking for in that specific field, and what will be your independent variable, what will be your dependent variable, or if you are looking at a qualitative study, what are some of the variables you are looking at in this qualitative study? And which kind of study are you looking at? Is it qualitative, quantitative, or mixed method approach, so that people can be able to understand from your research topic? So before you select a topic, you brainstorm about the topic. Like in most cases, if you are a student and you have the supervisor will tell you, select a topic. You send that topic to your supervisor, will be able to analyze, find out, is there a need, can this topic be researchable? Is it smart topic, a topic that is specific? You have variables that are measurable, they are achievable, what you're looking for can be attained. You can come up with the research objectives, you can come up with the research methodology, and the topic there is need for research. So try to brainstorm. Find out in your area, if you are in medicine, you are in clinical areas and so on, which area do you need to study and how do you write a topic? A topic should not be either more than 20 words or more than 30 words. You may find there is limitation depending on the university you're coming in from. Different universities have different restrictions depending on how a topic should be written and so on. So you'll find you need to follow the regulation, or even donors. They'll tell you, we want a topic of this specific number of words, number of characters, and so on. Or this way, like if they tell you, want the topic to reflect this, that's how you need to write the study, to make sure that that topic clearly communicates to the audience your intention. And it is very important that the topic needs to have a clear communication. That's very, very important. So that one is very, very important to do the topic to ensure that that topic communicates exactly what needs to be done. Then you need to select a clear topic, get super specific. Once you have a wide topic, make sure you also get a super specific. Narrow down the factors to specific factors so that you know in this topic, what are some of the factors you'll be looking at. Then you need also to define the topic as a question so that when you're writing your synopsis, you are trying to answer the question in your topic. And when somebody is looking at your abstract, from the abstract to the introduction, that question is being answered of the topic. You don't move outside that topic. That's what is very, very important here. You make sure that you're following the topic in your writing, and the topic is in a form of a question, but you are trying to respond to this question through the research that you're going to carry out. Then your research topic more or can create an outline. So you must research on the topic to create a wider outline on what are you looking at. So it is obvious that it's shocking that many students who start their doctoral studies actually never receive the PhD. Why do you think so? It's because either you did not select the correct topic, or the topic you selected, you have no idea in it. Because each topic you select, you must understand the area of that specialization. You cannot pretend that now, like for me, I'm in the education field. I cannot say I have enough knowledge about what happens in medicine. So you must be clear from the onset that this is my area of specialization. If you want to receive your certificate or your degree very fast, start from the onset. Pick a topic you are conversant with, or that area that you like most and you have interest most. That is the area you dwell with. And if you do that, you'll find you will progress on in the right way. How do you choose a dissertation topic for your doctoral degree? If you are a student, whether you are doing masters or something, how do you select a topic? Develop a topic that will hold your interest, because this is a long journey. If you're doing a doctoral degree, minimum is 4 years. You may end up even taking like 8 years. So if you select a topic that you even have no interest at all, it will become very difficult for you to understand what is actually happening. If you are doing master's degree, minimum is 2 years. Maximum, you may end up taking even 6 years and so on. So you must make sure that the area that you're looking at is actually, you have interest in that area, that you can convince somebody that there is knowledge in this area I want to research on, and I want to solve a problem using this topic. And I will use this to make sure I convince my donors, my supervisor, that this area requires research. And that is what you look at in that specific area. Then you need to also to focus on your interest and career aspiration. What do you want to do in life? If you want to be a doctor, then you must be able to read, especially if you're looking in the medicine field, read books of medicine field, understand the language that is used. The language used in the medicine field may not be the same language used in the educational field, may not be the same language the engineering people would use. So you must be able, in the humanities section, humanities will use different language and so on. So focus on your area of interest and your career aspiration. If you are doing a doctorate degree, your area is very, very important. What do you like? What do you want to focus on? And what are you doing? Because you need to be publishing even papers. You need to be writing papers. You need to be writing synopses and so on, coming up with so many articles so that you understand much better about the area of specialization. Because if you're looking at this, it's very important about the topic. Discuss the research topic ideas with your PhD, with a PhD supervisor. If you come up with a topic and that is a topic of interest, share with your supervisor, find out the input from the supervisor, and from there you can now be able to make a concrete decision or a genuine decision that this topic I can research on. The supervisor will tell you, it's okay, can you research on? And the supervisor should be somebody who has conversant, is knowledgeable in that area where you have selected a specific topic of discussion or a specific topic of your doctoral degree. So that is very, very important. Make sure that actually there is that coherent where you learn alongside the supervisor. You learn alongside other people. You don't learn alone. Yes, the topic you're the one who is looking at it, but there are other people who will want to make contribution to that specific area that you are in. Read everything you can on the subject. Read everything you can on that subject matter so that you don't leave out anything. Because if you leave out something, then you'll be told, go and look at this, or this area is not adding up. Some things are not in. You are missing some caps. So make sure that you understand explicitly well about the subject matter, what you want to look at, so that you understand especially what is missing in that specific topic. Find a theoretical basis to support your topic. That's what I talked about earlier on, theories. If you are a researcher, you must understand theory. What are some of the theories, established theories that are there in that specific area? What has been defined? What has not been defined, and so on. Like what happens in the world, in the global world, is based on theoretical aspects of life. You find anything you're doing has been researched on, and that's why those things are the way they are. So you must establish the basis of your study, build on a strong foundational theory. From those theories, you may have one or two theories you are using in your study. But if you are a doctoral student, you cannot avoid theories. Whether you are in the engineering field, you are in the medical field, you are in the educational field, or humanity field, or even in law, you must have a basis. Which theory are you using to establish your topic? That topic must be based on theories that have been already been researched in your study. And these theories are very, very important to help you build your study. Then look for a niche in which you can make a difference. Look for something very unique that you can make difference out of other topics that are there, that are existing. What brings your topic unique? If you bring it before your supervisor, what comes out makes your topic stand out, that people will want to listen, to look at your topic, or to listen to your presentation when you have written a paper. Because people read several papers or several dissertations. Supervisors read several, but you may find the interest will be developed by the topic of your doctoral degree. This topic is very fundamental. Make sure that the topic can be able to bring interest to the supervisor or to the audience that you are targeting to read your work. If this work by the end of your work, make sure if it has been published, then people can be able to look at it and read and go through your work and be interested to find out what you did and how you came up with your conclusion. Then let yourself shift gears. Let yourself shift. So it means that you may find in terms of starting a topic, your topic was something different, but through that was your proposal. When you carry out data analysis, you collect data and you analyze the data using the method I've mentioned earlier on, and then find that the research findings are totally different, then that one may also inform you to make changes in terms of the topic that you had earlier selected, and find out by the time you are publishing your dissertation, the topic has changed to something new. That is allowed in doctoral degree, and that is normal. So you must make sure that what you're doing is actually something that is geared towards establishing new knowledge in the specific area of specialization. And this one may change because you may find the way you started off your research proposal was very clear that this is what you're looking for. But when you go through, you deep insights, especially those ones who are doing qualitative study, using longitudinal aspect of descriptive or longitudinal aspect of design, you may find you are doing a study from either, like for me, I'm in education field. You're following a child from primary, this child goes to high school, goes to university, and you want to find out, has the educational system in this country helped this child? That is something new. You may come up with a theory after like 20 years down the line, and that is a study you've been doing to establish a new theory. And you find that theory will be different from the theory you have been using to study this child from primary to the university level, and find out what are some of the parameters that may have changed this individual to behave the way he's behaving. The way he was in primary is not behaving the way he or she is in secondary, and so on up to the university level. and you come with the new theories to determine that. Fine-tune your topic based on input from others. That one I've said earlier on, that it's good to work with other people. Work with the professors, work with the donors, work with the audience. Find out what your audience needs. When you're writing a dissertation or you're writing a synopsis, you're not writing for your own consumption. You are writing that paper to present to people who are going to read. It's like being in a market. And when you are in a market, you're marketing your work. You're marketing everything you're doing. And when you market your product, you present it much better than your friend's product so that people can be able to buy it. So you make sure that your work is presentable and your topic is catching and people can be able to respond to your work well. Now, how do you generate a research topic? You conduct literature review to determine what is known and what is not known, and ideas that need additional research. Examine recommendation for future research and limitation section of dissertation. Review articles published in a scholarly way. I've talked about that. So conducting research review is normal to most students who are doing research. You must examine what is published, what has been done, what are the recommendations of this person, and what did he not achieve in this study, and what were his limitations. And in most cases, like for me, the aspect of recommendation gives you what is missing in his study. And from there, you can get your research topic. Very important. If you go to somebody's study and go very fast to recommendation, you'll find out there is a cap, and that cap can help you to build your study so that you can come up with your own study from there. Then what are the limitations? You may find either the sampling procedures that were used, you either use a small sample size, then you can increase your sample size and try to come up with something different and so on. Change the environment where this person conducted the study. If the target population was different, look at if you target another different population. You will come up with different findings. Are they replicable? Are they valid? Is there reliability in your study? Very, very important point. Sorry. Search on the internet trustworthy and secure websites. Get something that internet sites that are secure. Right now, we have a lot of information online. This information may not be accurate. And most websites are not accurate information. They're not facts, they're opinions. Some are lies. Like if you follow social media, most of the information on social media may not be correct, but they can help you build a case, a research problem. If you analyze what is happening in the social media, you can use the idea there to come up with a research problem and use authentic sites to come up with a genuine study. So you must make sure you know how do you analyze information. Like you might find somebody has just commented on something on social media, and you look at the over 1,000 or millions of comments that are following that post that somebody has posted on the social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, or something. From those comments, you can establish the trend, find out what is the opinion of people about this subject that is happening on the ground. And from there, you can build a study and find out what is the opinion of people about what has been posted online, which is very, very important. Attend presentation, discussion, and recommendation conference. If you are a student, you are doing masters, participate in forums like these ones we are doing here. Without participating in these forums, you may find you will not be able to do anything because you may not have knowledge enough that will make you be able to discuss or even come up with a research topic that somebody may look at, understand what has been published, sorry, what is lacking from the seminars, conferences, and so on. They are very, very important for knowledge in terms of establishing the research curve and drawing your own research curve. Build on academic network. Have friends. Sorry, researchers, this may be researchers, you may have scholars, you may have academicians, lecturers, professors. These should be your friends. If you are a scholar, you are an academician, make sure you work with researchers, work with people who are scholars, work with academicians. They'll build your confidence and give you more insight about the area you can research on. So if your friends are professors, lecturers, then you are in the right place. But if you work, people are not going to school, or people are not reading, or people have no interest, then you may find your mind becomes narrow. You may not be able to know how to build more information about that area you want to research on. Attend Viva Voice oral defense presentation. This one is very important for those students who are waiting to defend their work, especially doctoral students or those ones who are doing PhD. Make sure in one forums, attend, try to see which questions are being asked by the supervisors, how do you respond to those questions, and which questions would you expect in your topic to be asked, and what do you think will be the answers to those questions, so that you understand the kind of questions that you, because you must be accurate in responding to questions, and you must be precise, and so that they don't return you back to the drawing board. There are students who reach to defense level. You have done your project, you have reached to, you have collected your data, you have reached the end. At that end of oral defense, you are told, change the topic. This topic is not relevant. So you must be very, very conversant with what is happening, so that you move with the supervisors, your scholars or your researchers or your lecturers, so that by the end time you are reaching the defense, that time you have an idea and you know this topic is researchable and I can write more, I can look for more information in this area, and I'm confident I can be able to articulate my ideas in this area effectively. So Viva Defense helps you to build confidence and master the content. Master the content that you're looking at. Because people will expect you to present some work that you know without looking at the PowerPoint. Look at the audience and present without your eyes focusing throughout on the PowerPoint presentation. Meaning you must be conversant with what you have researched on. Find out the problem of industries of interest and ideas to find solutions to the problems that can win fully industry-funded research. So if you are in an organization in medical field, these are areas you need to widen, open the net so that you cast your net wide, so that you understand what has been done and what needs to be researched. Because donor funding is very important. Like in Africa, we have so many donor funding companies. We have World Bank and so on. We have UNICEF. We have so many organizations that are funding projects. And these people fund projects depending on the proposal you write. If you write a good proposal, they just fund that proposal, and you find you have funds, enough funds to do your work. But if the research is not well, you not get donation from these people, or you not get funding from these people. We have very many agents. We have the World Bank funding a lot of issues in education, in health, in aid engineering field, and so on. And they are funding a lot of issues. For example, like in health, they are looking at COVID-19. So if you are doing a study on COVID-19 and you write a very good proposal, then you get a lot of funding from the World Bank and so on. From health organizations, WHO, you get a lot of funding from them, and you can be able to write a good proposal that you can convince the donors to be able to fund that proposal, so that you can solve problems locally that are disturbing people locally in terms of research. Then organize some brainstorming session in a group of 4 to 5 knowledgeable people, ponder on the ideas generated. It means keep on talking about what you want to write. Discuss with your colleagues, discuss with your friends, find out if this area you want to discuss about, is it area that has been researched on? Is there a lot of information in this area that you can look at? What can you see that is missing that you need to your study to fill in that specific area? What is the problem? You need to look at it. What do you think is the problem of the affecting these people or affecting the generation that we are in? So that if you're looking at the youth and you want to look at generation, the youth, and you want to see the problem affecting the youth in the 21st century, then you must understand how the youth in the 21st century behave. What are some of the issues do you think are affecting them? Then you must discuss with the youth. You must socialize with them, interact with them, brainstorm, so that you build a good topic of research. A good research idea must or may arise from certain conditions. Like I've talked about COVID-19 pandemic that has actually caused havoc all over the world. So if you are doing a study on COVID-19, then you must understand about other diseases that have had issues on human life, sorry. So you must look at COVID-19 in depth, find out what is your idea about COVID-19, what are you writing about it? What do you want to get? What is the issue? What are you looking at? If it's an experimental research, are you going to the lab to carry out tests? So that you, from the test trials, you can now come up with a conclusion, which you can tell people, this is what I found from the lab, and this is my conclusion, that they can be able to ascertain and help you. Then identification of a research topic. Also, we have talked about these factors, which I may not go in. We have said that it is based on a theory. Your topic must be sounded on a very good theory and an organized body of concepts, generalization, principles that you think they have been established and provided so that you understand how things are moving and so on. Like if you're in physics field, you'll find there are principles, there are theories, there are laws in physics that are there. And when you are doing a study in physics, then it means that study must be within the principles and laws of physics that we are looking at. Unless it's a very unique study, but also you can find out, do you want to approve the law or you want to disapprove that law of physics and so on. Those are things you may want to look at. Personal experience. How experienced are you in that field you are studying in? What is your experience in that field? You must have knowledge about the field of study. So the topic you select, you can convince somebody, this topic, I have a lot of information. And this is the information, this is what is missing, this is what is known, and I think my study will be able to do A, B, C, D. Is your study replicable? Can it be done somewhere else? Is it reliable? Does it have validity? Those are the issues you can be looking at. If somebody else takes different parameters you use or the variables you use and do the study, can you get the same results? That is something you need to look at. That's why ethical consideration is a very important. Make sure you do a study and carry out data collection. Whether it's primary data or secondary data, carry out on your own and see how the data is behaving. So that if somebody comes and picks your study and use the same variables you have used, can he be able to get the same research findings that you have published? That is very, very significant when you're doing identifying a research topic. Library is also very important because you need to immerse yourself, whether it's online library or whether it is the traditional libraries that we have in the universities. You can find more issues or more problems in those books you can read and be able to identify and select a research topic that is before you. So when you do a research topic, you start from a wider topic, then you narrow it down to a specific topic of your study. So when you start, it may be very wide, the way those circles are. Then you'll narrow it down slowly by slowly, then come to a specific topic that you want to look at. The topic should be relevant. What I mean by relevant is it must be solving a problem that is affecting the society. Don't just have a plain topic. No, the topic must be solving a certain problem in a specific area. Then avoidance of duplication I've talked about, ethical issues. Don't copy somebody's work and paste on yours. That is not the right way. Or don't pick somebody's topic of research and say, this is my topic. You'll find yourself in the court of law because of that duplication. Feasibility, consider the resources needed. If you are a student and you're doing either a master's or a PhD or the first degree, look at your resources you have. Resources in terms of finance, resources in terms of time, resources in terms of materials required. What resources are needed for you to complete that study? For example, if a doctoral degree takes 4 years, don't go for a study that may end up taking 8 years for it to be completed. That one will delay you for graduation. That one you can do it alongside your normal study. For example, if you are doing a study, you are doing a master's degree which takes 2 years, then select something that you can do it and complete within that 2 years, so that you are within, it is feasible. Look at factors that time, materials, finance is very important, personnel, very important. If you're looking to use research assistants, very, very important to understand this kind of study. So it's very, very important how to develop. When we talk about this one, people may not understand because it's good to understand the factors involved in developing a study. Just even coming up with the research instruments will take time for those instruments to be valid and reliable. So it must take a lot of time to ensure the instruments are reliable and valid, which is not very easy. You may come up with the instruments, but if you test the coefficient of reliability, You find it's less than even 5, which cannot be considered reliable for any study. So you must ensure that what you're looking at, you have the enough resources, and you do a budget. Do a budget, draft a budget that is reasonable within your capacity that can help you accomplish the task at hand. Political acceptability is also very important. Interest and support of authority. That's a factor that also you must look at. Which study are you doing? Is it affecting the political aspect of the country? How are you going to handle that? And see which method you're going to use in terms of making sure that your study is acceptable. Like in this example, we was only giving a small, which I normally use, about what is happening in India. Like in this case, you may have a topic, and the topic talks about unemployment problem in India. That's a very open topic. May not even be having variables to study. Unemployment problem in India is a common, just open sentence. Now, when you narrow down, you may find that you're looking at number 2, unemployment problem in the mining sector in India. So when you go now to the smaller sector, you're looking at which specific sector in India? I'm going to mining sector in India. So yes, the problem is unemployment, but now I'm looking at the people or in the sector of mining only. Then you narrow it down again, unemployment problem in the iron core mining sector in India. There are different mining. We have different minerals in India, but which one are you specifying, or which one are you looking at specifically? So if it's iron core, you now look at iron core mining sector in India. Then another one you can look at is unemployment. You can narrow it down to unemployment problem for mining graduates in iron core mining sector in India. Now you're brought in the graduates, those students who have done mining, and you're looking at an employment problem for mining graduates in iron core mining sector in India. So that one becomes a complete topic at 4. Stage 4 is a complete topic, has been narrowed down to a question, which is a research question from all possible topics in number 1 to a specific topic on number 4. And that's how you bring out a topic of study. Now, how do you write your research proposal? There are a few guidelines. These ones I've talked about. Come up with your introduction. Provide a brief overview of your research project. Include your aims, objectives, and outline questions of your research that we'll be able to address. So it's very, very important. Draft your background, outline a specific theoretical foundation for your research project. Prove you are familiar with the major theoretical and empirical contribution by other researchers, and frame your own research question in the context. Remember to cite the landmark studies in your field. So that's just a background. That's why I've told you, I was saying that it's good to read, find out what has been done, and that's what you now draft in your background. Then another thing that is very important in your research proposal is significant. What is the significance of your study? Explain why your project is unique and how the new knowledge generated by your research project will contribute to the existing knowledge in this field. If you are in the field of medicine, how significant is that study? So that you can convince somebody there is significance if I do this proposal, or if I write this proposal, then this proposal is going to solve a problem that is facing or making people not be comfortable. So you need to be more, look at what is the significance of your data. Don't just study or write any proposal without any interest or any value addition to the problems that are affecting the society. Methodology, outline how you plan to conduct your research project, including the sources, research method, and how you plan to analyze and report data. Be clear about the boundaries, conditions of your research. Discuss the potential limitation of your methodology and show that you have thought about ethical issues involved. Methodology was explained very well by the previous presenter, so that one I may not explain. Then lastly, make sure that you have your reference with the also conclusion, which is also very, very important. So I think because of time and it's late, also getting late, but most of these things also have been discussed by the previous 2 speakers. I'm very, very grateful for the time and the opportunity for the presenters who have been, the participants who are here this time. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, sir. That was really incredible and brilliant presentation. I would like to request everyone, please give the big hand for Edwin Kubai, sir. And we have seen that Edwin Kubai, sir, started with that the particularly research gap, research question, and how you can draft your incredible thesis. That was, I think, super exciting session by our Edwin Kubai, sir. We are congratulating you, sir, for your such a wonderful presentation in this platform. Thank you very much, and big hand for Edwin Kubai.